Welcome back to Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here, joined by Snail as always, and we're going to jump right into it. And I wish that we had better news to talk about, but this will be the final uh, Skating Penguin Network recap of the season as the Penguins fall 1-0 in overtime in Game 6 and ultimately lose the series 4-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. Um, a battle of goalies in this hockey game, but more or less the story comes down to Dan Vladar not blinking at all, as the Penguins, for the most part, dominated the back half of this game and especially overtime, but could not find a way to solve Vladar, who pitches a 42 save shutout to blank the Pens. That is his second shutout of the series. And Artur Shilov's on the other end does stop 31 of 32, but the one that got by him was a Cam York kind of wrister from the top of the zone that I don't know if Shilov didn't see or change direction, but it goes off the post and in, and the Flyers skate away with the win and in Game 6 and the win in the series overall. Snail, obviously disappointing. There's a lot about this game that it feels like, yeah, this was the ultimate outcome despite how the Penguins played. You can talk about deserving to win this game and whatnot. The Penguins, the better team for the last, I'd say, 45 minutes of this hockey game, or 35 minutes of this hockey game, but ultimately it is the Flyers who win. And I don't really have an instant reaction other than, like, I really thought it got to the point tonight where we were going home for Game 7. It just, unfortunately, will not turn out that way.
Me too, man. I genuinely kind of felt like, especially in overtime, besides that like first couple of minutes to start the OT, I mean, the Penguins were hanging in the offensive zone a lot, man, and they were crashing the crease. They were getting chances. Novak hit the post, or he hit the crossbar.
Yep.
But, you know, I've watched enough hockey games, and I had this thought enter my head where when the Penguins weren't able to, with all that ozone time and the incredible work by the fourth line, and then getting the icing call and then setting up for Sid's line to go out there and, man, just kind of like try to take advantage of a tired Flyers team when you had enough of those and nothing was going in. I've seen enough games, like I said, where it's usually some random crap that happens going the other way that ends up going against the Penguins or any team. Yeah, man, I don't know. That was it's shades of the Panarin overtime goal in the last playoff series. Just kind of a long range shot from far out, and the goalie doesn't see it, and it finds its way to the back of the net after a pretty good overtime period, honestly. Like, Penguins had the majority of the chances in that one. It felt like we were going to pull that off, and the Penguins were going back to Pittsburgh for a Game 7, but I don't know. In overtime, it's called sudden death overtime for a reason, man. It just takes one. There weren't any mistakes really either. Like, there weren't too many mistakes or.
I'll talk about mistakes here. I'll give you a couple mistakes, and it's by the guy. It's by the guy who led the Penguins in scoring this year.
Yeah.
I thought he was bad. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think that Anthony Mantha, and not just in this game, and I don't want to just put all the blame on him. Obviously, it can go around to everybody up and down the lineup. Nobody scored tonight. But he didn't, like, he almost blew it at the beginning of overtime with a terrible turnover. He had the game won. It was over. Like, he had Vladar dead to rights and couldn't finish the job. I just thought this entire series, he kind of just, I don't think, and I do want to do here within like the next 2 weeks, once everything settles down, a walk in or a mile in Kyle's shoes kind of episode.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to touch on it now. I think you let him go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think that, like, I kind of like, okay, you can go and you can do an overpay and it'll be fine. But I think somebody's going to offer him a deal that you probably don't want to match up with, even with cap space. But this just kind of soured me on the whole thing. And again, small sample sizes and whatnot. But he was so good at different stretches during the season. He was good to end the regular season, and it's just a big zero in this series. And I think that, like, if you're grading out the Penguins for these 6 games, like, he's an F. Like, he had 1 point, an assist in Game 5. There's an argument that he should have been out of the lineup before Brazeau was, I'd say, in Game 5 and 6. He was just a complete non-factor and if he was a factor, it was for the Flyers. There was a time, like, I saw people saying on Twitter tonight, like, are we sure he's not a sleeper agent for the Flyers? Like, it almost looked like he was like throwing the game away, and the Penguins were able to kind of fend it off a little bit tonight. But ultimately, like, you score 33 goals during the regular season, you got to give us at least one in the playoffs. He gave us nothing. He gave us a single assist. And part 2, and this is a complete team failure. Coaches to players to everyone, the power play was just god awful for 6 games, and that was the series. That was the series. You had 2 chances tonight. The way Sheelovs was playing, that's the series, and that's all 6 games. Just a complete non-factor for the most part. Just a dreadful performance from the power play, which was generally pretty good for this season. Just a huge zero as well in this series. Just Mantha and the power play are just 2 things that are going to sit bad with me here the next few weeks as I process this.
Yeah, Mantha was a non-factor, and I know we talked about the bringing back Mantha thing, and we'll probably have more conversations about this as the summer progresses. But
absolutely,
I remember you'd maybe persuaded me a little bit in the Mantha thing because you said just the cap hit's not going to really matter, and like right now it seemed like the way the season went, the Penguins are kind of all of a sudden in a win now window all of a sudden with some young players kind of coming. But you look at sample size of Mantha, and this is what makes me has always made me weary of him, man, was that the fact that he's had a decently long career at this point, and he is this year an outlier season for him. And I think as a depth scoring forward that's well insulated, it seemed like it could have been a good idea to bring him back. But I think his character really showed in this series that when the going gets tough, Mantha can't be relied upon. It's been that way his whole career. He was a prospect for the Detroit Red Wings when they were trying to, in that first window of them trying to rebuild and sort of get back to winning in Hockey Town. And they shipped him out, man, because it was just underwhelming and lackluster. And, he was with Vegas at one point. He was with the Capitals. Everyone's been able to kind of say, smell you later to this guy. And yeah, if he was, going to be a 33 goal scorer, 30 plus goal scorer for the foreseeable future, and you could convince me of that or convince Dubas of that, I'm sure he'd be willing to offer him a nice little contract. But it's just, I think it was a good outlier season for him, and good luck to him elsewhere. But when your leading scorer has 1 point and is a non-factor in a series that desperately needed goal scoring, I think that, maybe he takes a look at the vacancy up there in Ottawa if they need a scoring winger, because I think Brady's out.
Yeah, I think regardless of what happens in Ottawa or Pittsburgh even, there's going to be a bunch of opportunities for Mantha this summer, because somebody's going to pay big money. And again, we can talk more about this because we won't really know anything until June, July at this point. So we have a couple months to sit on it and kind of think about it and process it, what all will happen exactly. But getting back to this game and the series as a whole, I just, especially this game, like, it's hard to say when you have 42 shots that you passed up too many opportunities. But I think the Penguins, they did tonight. There was just times where they hesitated a little too much. And one that makes it easier on Vladar, or that throws your timing off and you miss the opportunity. It either goes wide or blocked or whatever the case. But a lot of guys in this, like the Penguins in 6 games, they scored 2, 4, 8, 11 goals. 11 goals in 6 games. You can't. That's, again, they didn't give up a ton of goals. in retrospect, like there were some close games, but you got to score more than 11. And this is a team that was one of the highest scoring clubs in the NHL this year. There was no shortage of goal scoring for the Penguins, and it disappeared in the playoffs. And credit the Flyers. Defense took away a lot of those opportunities, but in the end, it didn't happen. And I don't know what you do to address that. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about once things settle down. We can evaluate players and who's coming and possibly going. But to focus on the good tonight, there was some good.
No, yeah,
and
it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a playoff hockey game. That was like, if you are new to hockey, that is a playoff hockey game in a nutshell. Again, not everyone will end 1-0, but a tight, hard-fought goalie fest between two teams that do not like each other. You're already 6 games deep. Whether they were rivals before the season started or not, or the series started or not, these teams are going to hate each other at this point. And I think the Flyers had to win this hockey game. I think it was a must-win in a way for both teams, because the Flyers were done. Like, they were done in overtime. Like, it was over. Vladar, if they don't have Dan Vladar, then this is probably a completely different game and series at this point, because you have to go back to Pittsburgh for Game 7. You're already gassed. You've blown this lead. I think in a way that this was, again, obviously it's not a must-win because you have a Game 7 if you don't win, but I think this was as much of a must-win as it was for the Penguins as it was for the Flyers, because you do not want to go back to Pittsburgh for Game 7 with every bit of momentum and home ice being on the Penguins side. So, I mean, yeah, I think that they just took advantage of their opportunity. Cam York put it on net. Shelovs didn't see it. It deflected. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch it that closely.
It was clean. It didn't hit anything.
Okay, maybe he didn't see it then.
He didn't.
There were bodies in front, and it clangs off the post and in, whereas Tommy Novak's clanged off the post and didn't go in. But I'm not. That's hockey. But all credit in the world also to Artie Shelovs tonight. Major doubts the way he ended the season. They just kind of changed the goalie to see if they could change like the attitude in Game 4, and he gave them a chance to win every game he played. Artie was really good. There's no doubt about that. I think, again, another kind of Malin Kyle shoes topic, but I mean, the goaltending situation, there's obviously a lot of moving parts, but I think Shelovs lived up to what we had seen at points this season. He is a playoff dude. The guy shows up when in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. But I'm very how Shelovs ended the season despite the loss makes me feel really good moving forward with him in the goaltending picture some way or another. I'm really, really feeling good about Artie with how he played, even though the series did not end in our favor.
Yeah, he's he's still young. This was technically, I think, his rookie season.
I believe so, yeah.
So you kind of look at the work he's put together, and I mean, he is still signed, isn't he? Like, he's signed for like a couple seasons, is he not? Or is it one more year? Or
I think he's a restricted free agent. I'll check that one. Yeah, I'll check.
He's got one more year, so I mean, and he wasn't the problem. He was when it was Tristan Jarry and Shelovs. I mean, I always felt a little more comfortable with Shelovs, and acquiring Skinner really shook up the picture a little bit too, because you're looking at a guy who's gone to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals and, didn't get it done, but you got to be doing something right to get there. Going forward though, Skinner's a free agent. Well, that's something that's sort of out of the Penguins' hands. I mean, I think that he's going to want to, get some security and probably maximize his chances for, I mean, obviously he's gotten a taste of what it's like to get to the Cup final 2 times in a row. You'd think that winning weighs in on his next deal and who he signs with. If it's back in Pittsburgh, I don't hate it. If it's somewhere else, good luck to him. But dude, Shelovs is one of those guys that, like, if the Penguins are going to be looking to make the playoffs for the foreseeable future, kicking off with this year, he's someone that I kind of want around, because if your goaltender falters, this guy's got a proven track record of bringing it in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, and I just checked, and he is a restricted free agent, so there is some protection there for the Penguins. But I think that, the dude is only 25. Believe it or not, how old do you think Stuart Skinner is?
He's young, isn't he? Didn't he just get out of his ELC not that long ago?
He's 27.
Yeah, he's 27, man. He's got a lot of miles ahead of him.
Yeah, now he is a UFA. He is unrestricted this summer. So, it's going to be really interesting to see. Like, they have all these goaltenders. You have to think that, obviously, we know about Murashov. That's going to be talked about ad nauseum at some point. Again, we're going to see that the Wilkes-Barre, believe it or not, the Penguins are eliminated from the playoffs. Wilkes-Barre has not played a playoff game yet. They do not start until Friday night. So you're going to get plenty of a good look at Sergei Murashov right now. And in the ECHL, Taylor Gauthier is playing out of his freaking mind for Wheeling. The Penguins have a pedigree of goaltenders right now that is pretty much second to none, it feels like, in the league. So major credit to the scouting department for finding those guys, and best of luck to Kyle Dubas for finding a way to manage it and figure out what the heck's going on here. But
you need two now. It's no longer a one goalie league.
I don't think two. I think you go one goalie in the playoffs. Like, I think that is pretty much still like the standard. But who's to say that in a few years that doesn't start to change? Obviously, like, Vasilevsky is you don't see them, like, coaches aren't afraid to make the swap anymore. Buffalo straight up swapped out was it Luukkonen or Luukkonen and went to Alex Leon as their starter now. You don't see that much anymore. Again, if Freddie Anderson blinks in the next series, I would not be surprised if he comes out. Like, you don't have, coaches are not afraid to not only pull a goalie in a game, but to straight up swap starters going forward. Now, obviously, your guys that have a history like Vasilevsky, Swayman, Hellebuck, who's not in the playoffs this year, but he's in that category as well. I would not be, if Colorado would stumble at some point, would not shock me to see Bednar go from
woods to the other wood.
One of the woods to the other wood, Blackwood to Wedgwood, or vice versa. So that none of that really shocks me. No idea what's going on in Vegas. Another situation there where you could easily see Aiden Hill brought in for Carter Hart if things go sideways a little bit. But no, I think you need two goaltenders. You need two. That is the way of the league now. You need two goalies, and the Penguins are going to use a similar system to what we saw this year. You're going to see, I'd say, at least. I think I'm just going to put my cards on the table now. I think it's going to be Shelovs and Murashov opening night next year.
I mean, if you looked into a crystal ball and you saw that, I wouldn't doubt it. I think there's a part of me still that's a little bit like with Murashov going forward. Like, you saw Askarov in San Jose when Nashville gave up on him. He was supposed to be their goalie of the future, just a stud dude who's going to step in. I think he's a Russian guy too.
Yep.
And he is not ready yet for.
No, that's fair.
But I mean, you need to. It's one of those things where San Jose is in a position where they can give him games because they know that they're not in like a cup window win now mode.
Fair.
The Penguins also will be sort of, it's an odd space because we know that they are kind of trying to build up these prospects they've got. They're retooling sort of on the fly. They never had to get rid of, Sid, Letang, Gino. They actually added Carlson to the mix while they were in the midst of this retool and didn't make the playoffs for years. And now they're kind of re-entering sort of this, their window's sort of propped open all of a sudden again. And a guy like Murashov, he's gonna make the decision for Dubas is what's gonna happen. He's gonna get games, and if he seems green, and he's struggling in regular season kind of meaningless games, he's got to be put back in the oven for a little bit, or it's going to be an up and down type of scenario. And that's where you don't want to get yourself stranded, where you put your eggs in one basket. That's kind of where I was going with the Skinner thing. Like, you've got this guy who's a great goaltender, Shelov's and Skinner running it back, and teams are always looking for a goaltender. I know you don't want to also get stuck having two contracts you don't necessarily want on the books, but like, if you've got two decent goaltenders, someone out there will take them off your hands for a pick or something, like the Vancouver Canucks did with Shelovs, and the Penguins took advantage of that. But
correct.
I mean, but Murashov, he's under league. He's on the ELC. That Taylor Gauthier guy too. Like, don't be. What if I looked at a crystal ball and told you Taylor Gauthier's the backup next year, or he's starting game one? With the way he's playing, you just don't know how these things are going to shake out. That's a little bit more that's a little more out there than Murashov being in a tandem. But the way that he is, and the way that he's sort of playing, it's like you never know. But the Penguins they have a good problem, and they have a plethora of goaltending.
Yeah, I mean, it's never a bad problem to have, especially when a goaltender is so important to. I mean, if you look at the teams that win cups, like, you need a average to above average goaltending. You don't necessarily need like Vezina caliber goaltending for 2 months, but you need above average goaltending at the very least. We saw, I mean, to bring back some bad memories, like you saw when Fleury was not good, the issues that it brought. You saw with Tristan Jarry, Matt Murray, like, yeah. But again, then you look at a guy like Murray, and you can see what it means to have a good goaltender, even if it was a flash in the pan, like. Shelov's against Edmonton a couple years ago. How good he was in that series, just to keep without him, Vancouver probably loses in 5 games. Instead, they chased it to 7, almost upset Vancouver, or almost upset Edmonton, who went to the Stanley Cup final that year. So you have, you have a lot to work out. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, Murashov has a playoffs coming up. Like, we talk about like the Penguins, like, hockey's over, and it is for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but you have Wilkes-Barre, who's starting their playoffs on Friday. You have Wheeling, who is up 3-0 in their opening round series in the ECHL playoffs. So there's going to be a lot of guys to kind of keep an eye on.
For sure, man.
Here, and a lot to still talk about and to evaluate as well. So, like, I'm sure Dubas will be making the trip to Wilkes-Barre at some point to get some physical eyes on some of these guys. And
you look at like the Penguins roster right now, like they pushed the Flyers to game 6 after being down 3-0 in the series. But like I was kind of saying, man, like this is kind of like it's an odd space to be in, because you've got a lot of prospects pushing through right now. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how, I'm not really looking at Wheeling as much. I think it'd be
absolutely, yeah.
But you're looking at Wilkes-Barre, who you've got Rucker McGroarty down there. You've got Blomqvist in net, and as well as Murashov. You've got, Avery Hayes is going to go back down, and he's going to be playing games with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Yep. You've got a plethora of younger players that, are going to be pushing for roster spots. And I mean, you've got a lot of guys coming off the books too. You've got Achari's an old dog, dude. He's effective. He's become far more effective this season than he was under Sullivan, but he's going to be a free agent. Do you bring a guy like Connor Dewar back? I'm on the Connor Dewar wagon, bringing a guy like him back, and he's not old either. He's like 27 too. You've got Mantha coming off the books. Letang is still on the books. What you do with him, I don't know. That's a conversation. That's a whole podcast we can do.
Yeah.
But these are older dogs you've got. And if you think about going into next year, you're going to have still some veterans that are proven in the regular season and playoffs, and you're going to be adding some spunky youth to the mix. And it's going to resemble a lot like the Flyers. Like, not that I think the Penguins are trying to do what the Flyers are necessarily doing right now with the way they play and all that, but it's going to be the old guard with some young freshness and just another year of experience. So it'll be interesting to see what this roster looks like opening day in October next year.
Yeah, one name I'm looking forward to watching or keeping an eye on during the AHL playoffs, I'm assuming he's going to be sent down, is Jake Levanovich
Oh yeah, the guy they just signed.
Yeah, the guy they signed. He played, I believe, he played in the St. Louis game at the end of the season, so he does have an NHL.
You got a point.
That's right. Yeah, so I would definitely like to see him just to see what he does down there because he's one of the. I mean, he's one of their. They don't have a ton of defensive prospects. I do wonder how they will approach the blue line in the summer in terms of not only just adding to the NHL core.
Where's Pickering at on your list of prospects?
Oh man, yeah, he did. I don't think he played a game this year in the NHL, did he?
No, I don't think so. Oh, yeah. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe
if he did, he won. Maybe one.
Yeah. So I mean, what does that tell you? Again, this is a team that he played for this year.
He couldn't push, Soloviev out. He couldn't push a Ryan Shea out.
Ryan Shea better be back in Pittsburgh next year.
Is he not? Does he not have another year?
No, he's a UFA.
Ooh, that's a tough one because you like his game, but if he's looking career wise, someone might offer him some term and bag, like a decent sized bag to play for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
he's such a good utility defenseman, man. He could steady a top pairing, and he's nails on a third pairing.
And again, you do have time between now and July 1st. Nothing has to be decided this week, but you do have time to negotiate with these guys before anybody else can. So the window is open there.
The Penguins can negotiate with their UFAs until July.
Yeah, until they become a free. You can sign anybody. They could sign Malkin tomorrow if they wanted to. They could sign Ryan Shea tomorrow if they wanted to. They can do any of this. Yeah. So there's no no rush on that exactly. But I mean, I don't know. This one sucks. It's going to sting for a while. But hey, I mean, the fact that we're even talking about this, based on what we were thinking at the beginning of the season, I'll take it 100 times out of 100. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great. Said it, and he said it too. He was like, we would have given anything to be here when they were down 3-0. And like you said, Robbie, too. You didn't want the Penguins to just be satisfied with getting there. You wanted them to make some noise. I was in that. I wasn't satisfied with just this. They were too good this year to just get swept by a team like the Flyers. They took game 6 to overtime, man, and it was a 1-0 game. The Flyers were a little unorthodox. I don't know if the Penguins were expecting it to be that clamped down. They'd been kind of run and gun for a while, and to be that just stymied by that structure in 3 games, they got theirs in. They got a couple wins out of it. I think if they're able to steal one of those games at home, we're talking about a different series right now. But
yeah, especially they were starting to figure out that system. And even game you saw they were starting to unlock it. It's just 3-0 is hard to come back from. It's really, really hard, especially when you're in a situation where you have to win at least 2 games on the opponent's ice. It's just very, very hard. And they were starting to break through, but hey, and credit to Vladar tonight. The dude was nails tonight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was absolute nails tonight. Again, they don't win this game without him. I don't think. I don't have faith in Samuel Ersson. Apologies to him, but Vladar was absolute nails. He did exactly what they needed to do. Or what he needed to do to just give them a shot. I mean, in overtime, he was yelling at his teammates. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but he gloved down a shot and was literally yelling at his teammates to do something, anything. And one thing I don't want to go unnoticed as well. I wanted to say it when we were talking about Shelov's, the save he made before the eventual game winner on Porter Martone.
Oh my God!
Again, it sucks for him that it ended like this, regardless, but. It really sucks that he made that save and they couldn't make it count. Just utter robbery of Martone. Just again, one of the saves of the season. And again, in that situation when you don't know what's coming next, it was a season-saving save until the Cam Yorkel. It saved their season for only a couple seconds, but. in that moment. You don't know what's coming in the next second. So massive credit to Shelovs for that. He was nails in this game and the other two he played. Unfortunate for him, and I'm just happy that we got this. This was the debut. This was the Skating Penguin Network's playoff debut. So I definitely enjoyed it. It was our debut as a host, and I will also say this was our best month in terms of downloads and listens in the entire history of the podcast. And so a massive stick tap to all the listeners.
Yes, thank you guys.
Yes, you guys are awesome. I think we're going to bring mailbags back at some point. We didn't do one this entire season.
We got to get back. Maybe this year we'll try to revamp our social media presence.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some talks about maybe getting on social media more.
Yeah.
And you guys can make fun of us and chirp our takes and all that good stuff.
Getting the YouTube back up and running properly, getting Garrett back on the show, and I think we need to get CJ back.
We're going to get CJ back. We're going to have a long chat with him, I think, here pretty soon, talking about the Penguin season. He's got some. He's got to explain his sources because he was the one who said Malkin's going to have a sick year and the Penguins make the playoffs, and we were both kind of crow-eyeing.
We kind of laughed.
Well, okay. I like the enthusiasm, but and then sure enough, that's what ends up happening. So we're gonna have to get some guys on here.
Yeah. So keep it, or pay attention to the Skating Penguin Network social account. But you guys were awesome again this season. This is just the start. Obviously, I think I'll talk to Snail. We'll see
the iceberg. Tip
of the iceberg to our listeners, our fans. Obviously the playoffs are still going on. I mean, this is just tonight felt like I looked at the clock. It was like 10:30 and I'm like, it feels like 2:00 in the morning. I was that like,
I'm fried from that. I didn't move for 2 periods. I think I held the same clenched position.
Yeah.
For 2 periods.
I was basically just sitting in the chair, staring at the TV, just not moving as much as possible. Like I was basically a statue.
I'm pitted out. My pits are.
Yeah.
I soaked through this thing, man. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to get a drink before too long here.
But... I'm gonna be drinking some beers tonight for sure. I might have to make a trip to the store for some rye.
But unfortunately,
man, I kind of before we get close to signing off here, it is odd. It was heartbreaking to see that goal go in, but Robbie, it's odd because it's like I think we kind of know what the Penguins got right now, and it's optimistic in an odd way. I think the Flyers are going to get waxed by the Carolina Hurricanes. Like Daryl Sutter said, it's a waste of 8 days. That's what I think that the Flyers are going to deal with here. I think they're going to go in and they're going to get schooled at their own game by the Carolina Hurricanes, who they can clog up center ice like the best of them. They can, they're shot blocking. They've got speed. They're going to go and see a team that's been doing this for a long time. Carolina is going to have an easy route to the conference final. But I think the Penguins regroup here, and you're going to have Sid coming back. I'm positive Gino is going to be back. I think Kindle's experience this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, that guy played 60 games, 70 games?
Kindle, I think, played 78.
Kindle played
77.
Kindle played 77 games, man. And,
that's not counting the playoffs either.
There is going to be a sophomore slump. You can plan for it. It happens to every good player. You know what I mean? It's happened to the best of them.
Yeah.
But it's going to be another year of growth. And that dude's a gamer, man. Like, that guy is good defensively. He's good in the corners. He has compete. He's a smaller guy, but he plays a little like Sid, honestly. He kind of plays a little bit like Sid. I don't know, man. I see the Braden Point comparison. I mean, he didn't pop off for Braden Point. I don't think Braden Point actually was scoring too many goals in his first year or two, but I can see the vision there with a guy like him. I think his development as a centerman is going to be crucial for the Penguins' long-term success. But this year with Kindle coming through, I mean, he's a part of your core, like immediately. He's a part of the core now.
I mean, if Kindle turns into Braden Point, it's a home run. I mean, that's a home run draft pick. That's just how it is. So if that's what he turns into, then it's an absolute win.
I always say if you turn into Tyler Bozak, it's maybe not a home run, but that's a ground rule double. Tyler Bozak had a great career, undrafted, right shot centerman. The older in his career he became a good, bottom six centerman. I've always said it for years. If you can be Tyler Bozak, if you're a right shot centerman and you can be Tyler Bozak, no matter where you're drafted, that's a great pick. And I think that his ceiling's a hell of a lot higher than Tyler Bozak's.
In his rookie season, Braden Point played in 68 games, registered 40 points. Ben Kindle played in 77 games, registered 35 points. Point had 18 goals. Kindle had 17. If that is your baseline, if Braden Point is the projection, it's a home run. In 1,000 times over. Absolutely agree with that.
Let's see. Tyler Bozak, he played 37 games his first year, split between with the Marlies in 09-10. He had 8 goals and 19 assists for 27 points. And then his first full year, he played 82 games. He had 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points. So, I don't know. I think he's going to be right in that ballpark, in between a Braden Point and a Bozak type of guy.
Again, he just turned 19. He just turned
a lot 19. Of runway, man.
A lot of runway, and again, a huge building block for this team and franchise as a whole. So, a lot to look forward to. We'll definitely, I think you'll get a better idea of where things stand with Kindle, depending on how they play the offseason. Where they project him, because next year, I think he should be a second line player next year. I think
like that Stankoven kid in Carolina now. I think he could be like a Stankoven, man. Maybe he only gets like 40-ish points in the regular season, but in the playoffs, maybe he's kind of more of a gamer. He was a third line center this series, man, and he was playing with a Mantha who suddenly forgot how to do anything out there. Yeah. And he didn't really have this. And Soderblom, who I like Soderblom, man, too. That guy's kind of all of a sudden a nice little piece you've got. I called it too after he scored some goals with the Penguins. I was like, this guy he's 24, I believe, 23, 24.
Elmer is 24.
24. I mean, Valery Nichushkin didn't start turning into the Valery Nichushkin we know now until he was a little bit older. But with his size and frame and his snarl and his hands around the net, you're looking at a guy who his ceiling would be a guy like Valery Nichushkin, man. So
you never know. You never know.
He's got runway with this team, and I think with a guy like Kindle, man, you find him a solid winger that Rucker Avery Hayes could be a mainstay with him next year.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see exactly how this all plays out here in the following weeks and months as the playoffs go on, more teams are eliminated and the offseason really starts. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate the way it ended. I never expected to be here at the beginning of the season. No. So, I mean, and there's a bright future. I think we're all looking forward to it.
Are they a playoff team next year?
Talk to me in July. I need to see how things unfold.
Yeah,
I think they are, but I want to see what's added, because I think there's going to be a big swing this summer at someone via trade. I think he is probably number 3 on my list.
Oh, let me guess number 1 and number 2. Are you thinking about Elias Pettersson?
No.
Okay. Are you thinking about Austin Matthews?
That'd be an interesting one. Don't know how realistic it is.
Austin Matthews would look good in black and gold, man.
You know what? I'll say Brady Tkachuk is 4 then. I'll put Austin Matthews at 1.
Okay. And so 2 and 3. I'll give this 2 more swings. Are you looking at Quentin Byfield?
No.
Does he play in the East or the West?
These guys play in the...
Oh, you're thinking of Jason Robertson.
Jason Robertson is one of them. And the other guy plays in the West, too.
He plays in the West, too. Is he an offensive player?
He's a forward, yes. Skilled offensive player.
Brock Besser.
No. I'll spoil it. I will say Robert Thomas.
Okay, Robert Thomas. I like that, too. A guy that's on my list, too, is Mason Marchment. Dubas said in an interview, he said one of the biggest regrets he had, and Mason Marchment would be a hell of a middle six winger for a team that could use a little more piss and vinegar and a scoring touch. I mean, I think he scored 30 goals once. That guy is just, I think he's wildly undervalued. I think Dubas sees him as a UFA this season, and he goes, "I get redemption on my fumble, giving him to Florida for
and with
Dennis Mulligan."
Yes, and with the way that this free agent class is lining up, I think Marchment would definitely be the kind of guy.
Dude, him replacing Mantha? Are you kidding me, dude? He actually plays physical and he can score 30?
A little younger, a little bit younger.
Me up. Every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Yeah, a Marchment would be someone that I'd be very, very interested in from a free agent standpoint. Absolutely. Very good call there.
I think Marchment, I don't know. Matthews is good. He's coming off a knee surgery. I think he wants out of Toronto. He's a captain, but just slide slide Matthews right behind Sid all of a sudden, and you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Dude, think of an Austin Matthews, Chinikov, Malkin line.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty nasty.
That the power play all of a sudden. I mean, Malkin, I'm sorry, I don't think he's a power play guy anymore. He's not a first unit power play guy.
Not a first unit power play guy. No.
I think if you throw him on a second and he becomes kind of a facilitator, that's good. But you substitute a Matthews in on a top unit power play with Sid and the fellas. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but lots of speculation.
Yeah,
like my whole point earlier, it was a bummer that they lost, but like there is a strange optimism that we haven't felt for a number of years.
Absolutely. Like you remember what it was like last summer. Like again, we thought that they were going to be bad again this year.
We thought it was just starting to drop off.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, like it's hold on. Some of the pieces are there. We'll do some tweaking, and we're going to be right back at it next year.
Oh, we are. But, dude, Robbie, before it gets away from us, we need to get back on here and have kind of a season recap, I think.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, I'd say, after the first round ends. Let's hear what some of the players have to say on locker clean-out day, get some quotes.
That comes up pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably going to be Friday.
Okay.
And then we'll hear Dubas, I'm assuming we'll talk, and anybody else. We'll see what happens exactly. And we'll see what injuries were out there as well. But, we'll see. Yeah, we'll do a season recap. We'll keep up with the playoffs as well, obviously. We'll do some Mal and Kyle's shoes. We'll get Garrett here. We'll get CJ on here. We'll do some mailbags. We'll keep it rolling through keep the momentum rolling through the beginning of the offseason here. And then, obviously, once that comes, we'll do some heavy offseason talk as well. So a lot of content to still produce. So we'll just figure out some times to meet up and get it done.
I'm all about it, Robbie. We'll chat soon, man. I got nothing left for this episode. Let's go drink some beers.
Yep. So, that puts a wrap on this one. The Penguins do lose 1-0 in overtime in Game 6. They have been eliminated from the playoffs, their first playoffs since 2022. So they do make it back. They cannot quite pull off the miracle. But as we said in this episode, the pieces are there for a bright future. We look forward to it, and we look forward to having you guys along as well. You've been awesome this year. So
stick with us.
Stick with us because we got a lot of more content to come. Me and Snail will talk that out. But
we're just getting started, man.
Yeah, until we get around to that, you guys have a good rest of your week. The next time we talk to you, it'll probably be May. So enjoy your new month. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy some more playoff hockey. Don't get too down on yourselves about this. We'll be back just like the Penguins. So until then, you guys stay safe. Have a great weekend.